gonna say this one thing, and this is an argument that got super heated between me and my podcast partner when we were talking about the shootings. And I remember my first appearance here on Vlad, I had on a red shirt. I said this, and Michael Moore echoed this. And when like I got it from him, I'm not saying he got it from me, but it was interesting that he echoed my sentiments almost word for word when I said, and again, let me look into the camera. I got a lot of white fans. I love white people. And I know some white people will hear me say this as obviously in the comment section, he don't like white people. I always said, black people know that not all white people are racist, but as a race, you guys are known for racism. Historically, stereotypically, we're supposed to be the most feared, dangerous man on the planet. But historically, we've never hung people from trees. We never raped and pillaged. We've never assassinated leaders and blew up churches and killed little children and police brutality and water hoses and dogs. We never did any of that. So my thing is this.
And the list is longer.
Yes.
The list is long.
We would like for obviously for the sake of life, for gun control to be implemented in a more serious fashion. Hands down. But if we're being honest, I think that, and I know, and this was the argument between me and my podcast partner, he goes, you can't specifically legislate laws that say you're going to go after a group. But I'm going, the faces of mass shooters and motherfuckers that shoot up schools and whatnot, have black people done it? Yeah, there's the DC sniper. That's one example that I can think of. One. Have Hispanics done it? I think the guy that shot up the school was Hispanic.
The guy who shot up the school was Hispanic.
But in all the other cases, Columbine, the Vegas shooting, Sandy Hook, and we could go on and on and on.
We can go all the way back to Kent State and what was that, University of Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Asian dude that shot up Virginia Tech.
Yep.
So yes, anybody can be a maniac and do some sick shit.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm worried about my kids in school or my friends and family at a job, let's implement gun laws to protect everybody. But come on, man, let's tighten that scope a little bit. Let's. I don't know what that is in terms of, well, what would you put in place law-wise to try to not single out somebody, but you got to take a closer look at a white guy with a gun.
When it comes to black people, there's no problem about being singled out.
Okay.
There's zero
you see
problem.
How I'm dancing around this?
Yeah,
because I'm like, damn, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to piss anybody off. But I'm like, right, you just said it.
But everyone knows, right? It's cool if you watch this in your apartment and tune away and then go to CNN where they're telling you the exact thing without saying it. When all of this
thugs a code word for thugs.
Man, it's all kinds of code words.
Okay, so see, and this is where I know people will write in the comments, yeah, Gerard is taking the bull by the horns and Aries is dancing around it. And listen, I've never been one to bite my tongue, but I'm also not one. I just don't want to come off like all white people, because it's not that.
Right.
But you just said it. We get singled out all the time.
We get singled out as a matter of fact, in this same case. Remember, all of this time they were saying the biggest terror threat to America was black extremist groups. They've been saying that since the 80s or whatever. You haven't seen that. There was the thing in Philly. I forget what the name of that group was, who had some guns and whatever, and they dropped the bombs on them.
Right.
And I forgive me for not having all the details at this moment, but you're on your computer, look it up. But since then, you don't see any of that. We don't have militias all through Michigan. We don't have
Portland.
Yeah, we didn't try to kidnap the damn governor. They were going to kidnap the governor and murder her.
We didn't storm the Capitol.
We didn't storm the Capitol. And if we did, like I said, if me and Aries jumped in the car and I said, stop at the liquor store, and he stopped at the liquor store and I got in the car and said, go, 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 go. You're like, what the fuck do you do? Man, I had to off dude. I grabbed the register and I had to pop him. He knows he's a murder suspect too. There's zero way I'm getting a murder charge. We riding in the same car and he doesn't get it. We've been looking at that January 6th. They getting, dude, have you ever heard in your life somebody who went to prison for 2 months? That's a county jail visit. You might go into no damn real prison for 2 months, but you had many people die on the thing. Nobody's been charged with these extra things. So not only are we not going to keep it real about who's doing it, but we're not even going to remember penalties are supposed to be a deterrent for everyone else. In my opinion, you could take these last 2 mass shootings and add them to the tally of January 6th. Remember, treason at one point in this country was punishable by death. These motherfuckers are getting 2-month sentences, and that just opens the door. Remember, a penalty, they give the death penalty to make sure nobody else does the same stupid shit.
Didn't they acquit Trump?
You say what?
Didn't they acquit Trump of it?
Trump was running for office with open investigations. He hasn't been hemmed up for nothing. This motherfucker ran for office. We was like, I'm gonna have to take a moment from my campaign. I had to deal with my attorney.
I don't want to get off into my Trump shit because Lord knows that's a hell of a fight, and I've done that. But I'm just saying to your very point, and this is why I say it disgusted me when black people go, "What did Obama do for us?" I don't give a fuck. For the record, he did, but I don't give a fuck. The same way right-wing white Republican men look after their own. Historically, the way the court system, judicial system, has always looked out for their own. Why can't we look out for our own? Despite what you think he did or didn't do. I'm not throwing him under the bus the way a lot of y'all have. I won't do it. They don't throw their own under the bus.
That's because their own still make sure that they squared away. Obama, again, I know what your point is on there. He represented very well. But again, you could almost put between Trayvon Martin and Alton Sterling on to Obama. Because Trayvon Martin George Zimmerman got off. Remember all those killings while Trump was in office? That shit started while Obama was in office, and he didn't make a motherfucker pay. So why would they do? And remember, no way does Donald Trump become president if he doesn't come behind the first black president. He's the perfect president. What I'm saying is,
that was a backlash victory.
No doubt. That's the point I'm trying to make, which means that if Obama didn't punish somebody, do you think Trump would? That's why there was this whole rampage that didn't begin with Trump. It began at the end of Obama. So I'm right with you. He looked good. If he had done anything wrong, we would all know that.
Could you imagine that black man saying grab women by the pussy?
That kind of stuff.
Me?
That kind of stuff. Even catching him lighting a cool.
In a tan suit.
No socks. Remember, he had a cup of coffee in his hand and didn't salute the dude. They were ready to kill his ass. Yeah, no, he represented.
Come on, man.
However, he checked. The LGBT can look on paper and tell you what he did for them.
But I will to this again. I gotta refer to the mastery of Dave Chappelle when he made the joke about, have you ever stopped to ask why it was easier for Bruce Jenner to change his sex than it was for Muhammad Ali to change his fucking name?
How about that?
Like, our resume has always been put to the bottom of the pile.
Yes.
So gays and transgenders coming before us, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm not mad at it either.
Nobody's looking out for niggas.
It was authenticated by the first black president, though, while saying wait until the next term. And we're not saying that the first black president is supposed to be like reparations. Y'all we're going to paint the White House black and everybody's going to listen to hip hop and R&B. And
black people wanted to see him at the podium sucking chicken wing meat off the bone, nigga. All right, today's agenda. I'm going to give niggas free Popeyes coupons. Like, come on, man.
It wasn't going to be that. But like I said, when a very particular group can look on and point to exactly what was done for them, we supposed to be able to do that too.
We are.
On some level.
We are. But again, in terms of, Congress, he can't just do that himself.
I get that.
And I always screw this guy's name up.
He did that.
Mitch McConnell, the old white man, looked like Colonel Sanders.
Yes.
He said
black hand.
He personally said, we're going to make sure we do everything in our power never to pass anything through.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
And that was the day of the inauguration. They
Right.
all went to have scotch or some shit somewhere and determined that they would not.
So, and why is that, though? We know why that is.
But they got together and the LGBT stuff passed.
LGBT ain't niggas.
No doubt. But it came up from Obama. They said they weren't going to do shit that he said. And so that's what I'm saying. We could always see where they agree.
Right.
Remember, anytime they reaching across the aisle and shaking hands, we're in trouble. Anytime they agree, we're in trouble because they all agree that we're not supposed to have shit.
Right. Again, when you look up his list of accomplishments, to say he did nothing is ridiculous.
For
Obama,
black people.
For black people. It's ridiculous. Black people didn't need health care. Black people didn't get closure from Osama bin Laden being taken out on 9/11.
But again, we're talking about exclusive. See, now
I know we want exclusive.
We supposed to have exclusive. We haven't had shit.
I know,
remember,
but
it's
again,
a rising tide lifts all boats.
I understand
if
that.
I have nothing, you have 5 and he has 10. If you give everybody 10, I'm still 10 below.
My thing is always this. He was the first black president. To be the first of anything is hard. To be the first black president of the United States, you're going to take some L's. When we get our 15th black president, we shouldn't be having this same conversation. But when you're the first, like Jackie Robinson, to change baseball, it would take Hank Aaron. It would take Willie Mays. It would take more than him. He had to take some L's.
Right.
This is a baton race, not a sprint.
I'm not mad at that. But remember, when Jackie came in, the other teams were like, man, we better get some black players around this bitch because we can't get him out of here. It wasn't like you had to wait 4 years in between each Jackie.
Right.
The next black dude came next season.
I know, but
because we can't keep up with this motherfucker.
I think that
we can't throw him out at home.
But I think we wanted to put all the weight on Obama's shoulders to accomplish everything in 2 terms.
Nah, I think
it's just not realistic.
I know what you're saying, but I think people were willing to stand back and wait on something exclusive. I have a clip in my pocket right now where Kamala's dancing around it and saying the same thing. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's not okay. I'm telling you, watch this. Here's the trick language, and it starts every time it's about us. There's black. There is minority and there is people of color, and they use those interchangeably, and those words do not mean the same. Black is black. People of color is people who are not white but who are not black, and minorities is basically the very small percentage of people of color who don't use that against black people. When they say more black women die on the delivering room table than anybody else. And so we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this to improve that in communities of color. But you just said the problem was with black women. Women of color don't have that issue. Minority women don't have that issue. You're going to try to fix it, and at the end of the thing, it's going to be minority women and women of color who are taken care of. Meanwhile, black women still dying every other baby.
I agree. Touche. I hear
But I'm
you.
saying they do that with everything. Look at Joe Biden's plan for black people, and look at Donald Trump's platinum plan for black America. You hear it every day on CNN and on ABC. The issue is with black people. We're going to do these things, and these things, and then underserved communities. Right. That's not black people. When black people get up, black people are too afraid to say black, so we say black and brown. But Spanish people don't have problems. Hispanics don't have those issues. And when they go to bat for themselves like they should, they stand tall for Hispanic issues. There's no brown and black coalition.
Yeah, but a lot of them also deny their black heritage.
I was going to say
black,
that.
I know black. Papi, I know black.
They deny
and
their
black
Hispanic.
Is a motherfucker.
They deny their Hispanic. Many Hispanics identify on the census as white.
Let me just say this, man, and I'll be done with the Obama thing. I remember Ta-Nehisi Coates, because black people were going, cultural symbolism. Him being the president and making it's cultural symbolism. And Ta-Nehisi Coates said what I agree with. It's important. You need it. Don't devalue that. And again, I know what we wanted, but I also think it's not realistic to think that this first black president ever was going to be able to do all that.
Right.
I remember there was a great 3-part documentary on HBO called The Pursuit of the Perfect Union. And it was all about Obama. And there was this big round table, Black Coalition, and 2 of my favorite Black speakers and educators were there. Eric Dyson and I always forget this, Cornel West, Professor Cornel West. And Farrakhan was there. And I remember at one point, Eric Dyson worked himself up into a frenzy. And he said, Roosevelt had to deal with race. Reagan had to deal with race. These many, Nixon, all these white presidents had to deal with race. Why are you the first president that doesn't want to deal with race? And he was upset. And Cornel West was hugging him from the back like, calm down, brother, calm down. And it bothered me because I went, I get it. But in terms of the big picture, we're not trying to be one and done. We want 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Black presidents. And if Obama doesn't play it strategically and he does what y'all think he should do, and again, it pains me to say this because it feels like I'm kowtowing or something, but I'm not. What I'm saying is he's got to be presidential. He's got to kick the door open and do what's necessary to leave it open. So in this baton race, he can go, I've taken it as far as I can. To the next Black man or woman, your turn. So when you go, why can't he deal with race? He can't deal with race the way you want him to, because if he does, it's going to make a portion of non-Black people, particularly white, go, oh, you see, he's not for us. He's just for the brothers. And then that potentially closes the door on the next one.
For the next guy. I get that, but that's what I'm saying. Remember, Black people's needs are so, again, mountainous that you didn't have to do all of it. At this very moment,
you don't think he did the best that he could?
I think
for the time that he had.
I think for representation wise, he was excellent. But like I said, you have to put your toe in it. You can't go sing a Negro spiritual or say that Trayvon looks like my son instead of making some other stuff happen. Doesn't have to be everything. We're not saying the first president is supposed to do reparations. But watch this. There's a young dude right now running for, I forget what the office is, out of South Carolina. And he's giving Jim Clyburn the business. Now, he's running on a reparation platform. Now, whether or not this dude wins, right, whether he wins or not, that's a victory. He's not tucking what his Black agenda is behind him. That's the platform he's running on. So in my opinion, he could even lose and that be almost more effective than trying to hide what the actual agenda is. And then remember, if you're running for an office, you still have to take care of the city. You still got to take care of the state. You still got to take care of the nation. That's never going to be the afterthought. I'm just saying, making sure. Remember, we do immigration. That doesn't have anything to do with anybody other than the people who are coming over. That's an exclusive thing. That nigga, remember, that's why these dudes are running around killing everybody, talking about replacement theory. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't stop and not do that. You take care of the people who are here. And you do it in increments. I'm not saying you're supposed to jump off the ledge and say, I'm picking up all of the Black issues and I'm going to force that in front of everybody's face. I'm saying let it be known. We do LGBT. We do all the marginalized joints, but we don't do Black. We don't take care of Black.
I hear you. I think that's a little bit more complex.
It is. It is.
Than we can totally comprehend. You know what I'm saying?
I do agree.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying something. We could, that list is this damn high. Take one thing off the list.